Greetings and salutations, and welcome back to our beginner's walkthrough of Europa Universalis 4 with RedBstrd as Delhi. So one thing I should comment on is at the beginning of the videos, or sometimes during them, I pause for a second, you might see some weird flashing icons and things shimmering and moving around and so on. That's due to a little graphical issue with the current incarnation of the game. If you minimize the program for any reason, then it's set to run on minimal memory, and it just has weird graphical effects like that. So the software that I use to record things should have, it requires that I minimize things. There should be, as a result, some weird graphical things happening. So sorry about that, I just can't control that. Also, hopefully the sound quality is good. You might occasionally hear me sighing or some breath or something on the mic. I try to have all of that filtered out, but these settings are kind of the best I can do without getting good software or a better mic, and that's just not something I can do since I don't actually make any money off of these, despite the ads, just don't have a viewer base or anything. So, yeah. Sorry about that. Anyway, where we last left our country, we had just gotten a few allies, and we were trying to pursue some sort of diplomatic goals. So first of all, what I'd like to do is improve relations with Mewat in order to accomplish our mission, which requires that we have Mewat's opinion of us at least 100. So it's at 67, so we're 2/3 of the way there. So we can just click on their country, click on diplomacy, and under relations, we're trying to improve relations. We could have a diplomat maintain this, so we'll dedicate one of our diplomats to improve relations. He will stay in their country every month and try to strengthen ties between our country and theirs. So let's confirm. And he has been sent off, and it already improved the relations by 3, and on the 1st of every month he will improve it 2 or 3 more. So that's one of our diplomats. He's abroad working on that. Another diplomat is going to use dynastic actions and see if we can forge royal marriages between us and our friends. So we're going to marry somebody in our family to somebody in the ruling family of Bangladesh, and they are our subject, but this will make them like us more. You can see that the relations just went up 25 for having a royal marriage. You can only send one diplomat to each country each month. We're going to do that here as well. And here. Just to ensure that our ties with our allies are as close as possible. We want our allies to like us and trust us. And once we've got that out of the way, we can do one here. And it tells us that's going to temporarily take down our prestige a little bit. But every month, or sorry, every year, we're going to get a little bit more legitimacy. Our relations with them are going to increase, and we have a higher chance of producing an heir if we need one. Okay, our nation. Let's just move all this stuff over to the side. So the rebels have won. Traitors, Delhi, and pretender rebels have forced us to submit. They have removed or killed our heir and our ruler. I don't think it's horrible, it's actually quite glorious. Broken the back of our country, we had to accept their demands to replace our ruling family. Let's take a look at what we have. So we go to our main country view and go to the first tab as our court. We can see that our Sultan is named Balal the First Lodi. So Balal of House Lodi, first of his name. And he is 5 out of 6 on administration, so he's quite good. He is 5 out of 6 on diplomacy, so he's quite good there too. And he's got a military score of 2 out of 6, but that's better than the 1 we had. And our ruler before, our heir before, was a 1-0-0. This guy's a 1-2-3, so he's substantially better than that as well. This was for old rulers, so we don't care. And we've been told that our new heir is Said either of House Lodi. So we don't have to worry about anything crazy. We have an heir if our ruler dies. Tells us that our old heir died. And we have a new ruler, new sultan. It's a 5-5-2. That's a big improvement. Ignore that, and ignore that. Okay, now we have some new things that popped up. Well, first of all, we completed our mission by making Mewat like us. So now we get to pick a new mission. And one of these missions could be improve our prestige, but our prestige is going to be hard, I said, to increase. We could go to war with Jampur, or we could conquer Sind Sagar. And there are only 4 provinces, so we're twice the size of them. So let's go for that. And it gives us flavor text. It says, if we own this province, we will complete the mission. And we get a bonus. What do we get? Well, we get prestige every year. Yearly prestige. And our manpower recovers more quickly. For the next 10 years, we'll get 10% more men in military age are going to join the pool, be available to our armies. Let's do that. And we'll start planning out some military matters, but why don't we send, first of all, our troops from Upper Doab to one of our provinces bordering this nation we plan to invade. Now we also have another alert telling us that we can pass some decisions. And we can see decisions are down here. We have missions up here, policies in the middle, and we don't have to worry about them for quite some time. But we have possible decisions, and we can see the ones that are envelopes with the green checkbox, check mark, indicate that this is something that we can pass. It gives us flavor text again, tells us why we've qualified for them or why we don't qualify for these ones. Green asterisks are things that we have fulfilled requirements, and the red X's are things, requirements that we have not fulfilled. So we could establish an office held by those with deep knowledge of the Book of God to ensure that the conduct of government in our nation is in accordance with Islamic law. If we do that, we will get +1 missionary strength. Our missionaries will be more effective. And that says gain 10 piety. Piety is exclusive for Muslim countries. If you're Catholic, if you're Buddhist, if you're Hindu, if you're Zoroastrian or Jewish, whatever, you're not going to have this. And what it gives us, and we can see this on main country view to the religion tab, is a slider that goes from -100, which is a total lack of piety, to +100, which is entirely being pious, being committed to the ideals of Islam. If we completely disregard religion and make ourselves as secular as possible, we get some bonuses. We get higher taxes because religious minorities might be prospering or something. We're able to get more manpower, again, because possibly religious minorities might be prospering and might be willing to join the military, and technology is cheaper. By contrast, if we go for maximum piety, it's easier for us to convert our provinces to Sunni. Our armies fight better. That's what morale does. Your troops will fight harder and longer, and our forts will hold out longer. So do we want to be secular or zealous, pious? So if we take this decision, we will get, for the lifetime of our ruler, Our missionaries will work harder and will become more pious. And I will note that you should pick one or the other and commit to it. So either tank your piety, if you really need that technology cost and taxes and the manpower, or get it as high as you can. Because there's no benefit for sitting in the middle. Okay, so we're going to do it. And we can see right away when we go to our religious tab that our current level of piety gives us a little bit of missionary strength. And you can see that these numbers should have been like 555 months to convert one of our provinces. This one, Upper Doab. Now it's only 66 months. So adding the missionary strength and a little bit of piety helped us. And our troops will fight 1% harder. Our forts will hold out 2% longer. We have another decision. We can condemn any form of sect practice, religious sects, and declare all practitioners of sects heretics. So we try to create some religious unity in our country. And if we pass this decision, it lasts for the entirety of our ruler's life, and we lower our unrest, meaning that our provinces are less likely to have to deal with rebels. And we get 10 more piety. So I said commit to it. We've already got 10. Why don't we make that 20? So we're going to pass this decision. And now we have 20 piety. And you can see our missionary strength is even higher. And we can convert things even more quickly. We have now plus 2% to our morale of our armies. And our forts will hold out for 4% longer. Don't get caught up in the details, just know if you're playing a Muslim nation of any sort, either Sunni or possibly it could be a Shiite nation, I don't know, or you could even be an Ibadi nation like Oman. I'm either want to commit to one side or the other. Get high piety or really low piety. There's no benefit for staying in the middle. And we're going to be pious. However, we're not really going to take advantage of our conversion strength. If you've got all the downloadable content, or at least the right ones, you will have a tab here right at the end, Estates, dealing with the different interest groups in your country. Let me see how long our video has been going on, 12 minutes. Again, just trying to keep an eye on the time here. So there are different groups in our society that are estates, like our emirs. That's a landed nobility. It's a landed aristocracy, so our nobility. We have the dhimmi. Those are non-Muslims. So, from originally like Christians and Jews only, but more broadly speaking, it applies to, in our case, Hindus, our country, merchants, and then ulama is our clergy. And what we see here is a little icon that represents that estate, their name, and the bonus that they give us currently. And we could see that if they really like us, if they're loyal, they give us big bonuses. If our loyalty is 40 or higher, we will get a bonus. If it's 39 or lower, we will have a penalty relating to something to do with that estate. So with our emirs, it's our nobility. They have to do with military matters. Our dhimmi, the more loyal they are to us, the more we accept people of heathen religions, and the cheaper technology comes for us. Merchant guilds, the more influential and loyal they are, the more they'll help us out with trade. And our ulama, or clergy, the more loyal and influential they are, the more stable our country will be, and the more tax money will bring in. So we have certain numbers here. Here's the loyalty. How much they like us. The higher, the better. If we get these all up to 100, that would be wonderful. It's not going to happen, but that would be ideal. There's no downside to having high loyalty. And then there's the influence that that estate has in your country. If it gets to be 80 or above, bad things will happen. And we'll look into that closer. I'm not going to get bogged down in those details. And then the amount of our land that that estate controls. Now we can interact with these groups, we can ask favors of them, we can grant them favors to make them more loyal. But the point here is that we have an estate, an interest group, if you will, for our religious minorities. And if we make them happy, we will prosper. So rather than converting our people, we're going to actually try just encouraging them. We're going to treat our Hindus well, and we are going to prosper because of it, because our dhimmi estate is going to reward us. Okay, so we should see if we can take advantage of these estates. So the merchant guilds. We could ask them for money. It'll make them less loyal, but again, we need these numbers. We need loyalty between 40, at least 40. It's 40, we're okay. And certain options are not available to us because they don't have enough influence. So for instance, we could demand of them that they give us some diplomatic power to help us get diplomatic technology, but they need to have more influence in the country. And some of these options, we could actually give them more influence in the country and make them more loyal. Let's do that. The loyalty went up, and you can see we get some nice bonuses. They got a little bit more influence. And now we can demand something in return. We're going to demand diplomatic power. Okay, we could do the same thing with the ulama. We could seek their support to gain a little bit of piety. And it costs us something. We lose a little bit of prestige, we lose a little bit of legitimacy. They gain some influence in the country, loyalty, and then we can ask for something in payment in return. So we're going to get some administrative power. This will help us with our technology. I don't want to give our nobility, our emirs, any more influence in the country, because they're already at 65. If we call this diet to give them more influence, it bring them up to 75, and I said 80 or higher is disaster. So we don't want to get that close, unless we really need to. Right now, all we can do with our dhimmi is we could tax them, which would, of course, upset them. But we could actually make them happier. We can click on one of our provinces. One of our Hindu provinces. I'm just taking a survey here of who controls what. It'll tell us the institution, or sorry, the estate that controls that. We could hand off this province to our dhimmi. And by doing so, it says that we would collect 33% more taxes. We would lose all of our missionary strength in that province, would be unable to convert it to a different religion, would be guaranteeing not to convert them to Sunni Islam. But the dhimmi will be more tolerant of heathens, so they're more loyal. Their loyalty will increase, it says up at the top, by 6.9%, and they'll get a little bit more influence. So let's do that. We handed off this province to our dhimmi. And this province, we can give to them too. And why are we doing that? Well, now we can see they're really happy with this. They're above 60. And now we get to discount our technology cost. So rather than converting our population, we're just like saying, you know what, we're actually going to guarantee your religious minority rights. And our Hindus will be happy with it. Okay, I'm going to get too bogged down in those details, but I promised I would explain all of the decisions that we're making and why. And settling our internal affairs is worthwhile. We're planning on going to war with somebody. Planning on going to war with Multan. So Baluchistan hates them, so let's try to buddy up with Baluchistan a little bit more. We're going to unpause it. Baluchistan has offered us a royal marriage. If we agree, our relations with them will improve. We'll get a little bit of legitimacy each year, and the higher chance of an heir if we need one. Okay, we'll do it. And as we did with May Watt, we are going to dedicate one of our diplomats to improving relations with Baluchistan. And now Bengal, our other ally, has offered us a royal marriage. Again, we get a little bit of legitimacy each year. Our relations will improve, and we get a higher chance of a new heir if we need one. So we'll put a ring on it. We have accepted. Our army is marching to the border with Delhi. I should note that we haven't built any troops other than what we started with. So how do we know how large our army should be? Well, there's two places you can find that information for ease of reference. You can click on your production interface where you can build troops. It tells us that we are allowed 20 troops, and we have 20 troops. We've got 20 out of 20. We could build more over that limit, but they would become increasingly expensive. This is the same way that we can find out that we are allowed 12 ships. But we only have a coast, so that's not going to happen. The other place you can find that out is through your main country view. Simply go through here, all the way over to your military tab, and it tells us that we are allowed 20 troops. That's our force limit. And that for our armed forces is 20. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Need to clear my throat. All this talking gets throat dry. Okay, we can see as our army is moving, we can just click on him, left click, or create a box around him, drag it, release, and then right click to get him where we want him, left click to select, right click to move. And it tells us that he will arrive there in 11 days in Lahore. And we've received a royal marriage offer from Mewat. We will accept. Always befriend your allies. Makes sense. And now that we have a new ruler, right after he comes to power, you'll get some randomly generated personality trait. And in this case, unlike our old guy was a babbling buffoon who was really bad at diplomacy. This guy, in addition to having better skills, he's also charismatic. And he's good at diplomacy. That's what diplomatic reputation is. It means that the efforts you try to do in diplomacy are going to be more effective. Great. Now, after 10 years on the throne, he will get another trait, randomly generated, and then 15 years after that, he will get a third trait. And his heir, when he reaches 15 years of age, will get a trait. He won't get a second or third until he comes to the throne. Then 10 years after coming to the throne, he'll get a second trait. 15 years after that, he'll get a third. Or, I shouldn't say he, because we could have a princess. But in our case, we have Saeed. He's male. Okay, we're actually making more money now. We're making 3 ducats per month, now that rebels no longer control our country. So we could potentially hire advisors. Can't make any new troops. We could hire advisors. So what's most important to us? Well, we want to make sure that we're only hiring something that we can afford. So we've got 3 ducats. You can think of it as $3 that we could spend each month of our income. And remember that the role of an advisor is to improve the amount of points that we get. And we're getting 8 of these, base 3 plus score of skill 5 means 8. We're only getting 5 militaries, so that's probably the most important. Can't afford this guy. We've only got 3 ducats of profit each month. He costs us 4. So our choices are only these 2. And we're just going to go for manpower, meaning that we'll get more men to fuel our war machine. And hire him, he'll take 15 of our ducats out of the treasury. Now it costs us 1 per month, sure. Now we only make 2 ducats per month. So we could hire somebody to get more taxes, or we could hire somebody who's good at spying or good at the Mac reputation. Let's just go with this guy. He'll help us get alliances, anything we need. And now we're making just under a ducat a month. So we could hire a 3rd guy. We're actually going to be losing just a touch of money every month if we do so. Alright, how far into this video are we? We are 26 minutes. So I think we're going to... Sorry if you can hear that cat meowing in the background. Cat is worked up at the moment, and I'm not sure exactly why. His sister's been running around meowing too. So sorry about that if you can hear it. So let's just go over war. Because we need to destroy some people around us. That would be a good idea. Now, we need a reason to go to war. We can't just invade somebody for no reason. If we just declare war without cause, our nobility won't like to run off to battle and lead troops and potentially die for no reason, and of course the peasantry doesn't like to fight in wars for no reason. So we would lose stability if we attack somebody without reason. So who do we have the ability to declare war on? Well, we can find that out by clicking on our country view and going to diplomacy. It's still looking at the last person we were interested in, so let's return to our country. And it tells us right here, on this little scroll icon, who we have a casus belli on. So casus belli is Latin for cause for war, grounds for war. So we have reasons to go to war with Multan. And that reason is to conquer some of their territory. We also have reasons to go to war with Jampur to our east, Multan, Kashmir, and Bundelkhand down here. That says reconquest, that they have some sort of territory that we consider to be ours. Or we can go to war with Jampur and Multan to humiliate them because we've declared them as a rival. So our options for war. We can invade Bundelkhand, Jampur, Multan, and Kashmir. So we click on each nation, we can see if they have any alliances. So we can see Multan is allied to Sindh, this nation here, and to Nagaur, this nation here. Kashmir has no one protecting them. Let's just move our army up north to the border with Kashmir. But we need more than just troops and a reason to go to war. We should have somebody to lead our armies. So So we can click here on the no leader. We have no leader. And it shows us our available generals. We don't have any available generals, so we have to hire one. First of all, we could make our ruler a general. But we don't want to do that, because he's good. And he's young, so he could live on the throne for quite some time if he's not off leading troops in foreign wars. And if he dies, his son is 0. That's not exactly going to lead to long-term prosperity for our country. We'd have to have a regent ruling the country, and that could be a mess. So the other option is we could spend 50 of our military power to just hire a general. Let's do that. And we have a guy randomly generated named Hyder Sinan, and we're going to put him in charge of our army. So let's invade. So we click on the nation, either of the provinces, it's all the same. Click on diplomacy, and we can see right here why we can declare war on them. Just click on this province, and we can see that Kashmir considers this province to be theirs. They control it. But this province, Punjab, considers it to be theirs, but it's grayed out because there is no Punjabi nation currently. Kashmir considers it to be theirs, but so do we. We have a claim on this, we have a core on this province. We consider that to be part of Delhi that they unjustly control. That's why we can war with them. We just start with that. We're going to go to diplomacy, and we could declare war. And we have to give a reason for it. So our reason is right here. Reconquest. Our war goal would be to capture this province. And at the end of the war, we would try to take this province from them at the peace table. That tells us the effects of our declaration of war. We would be at war with them. And we would gain 25 piety. Remember, that's our religious characteristic. We'd gain 25 piety because they're members of a different religion and our zealous religious public would like that. They have no allies, and it will tell us if our if our allies would help us and why or why not. Mewat would not help us, because they don't owe us any favors. They don't owe us anything, so they have no reason to go to war on our behalf. Bengal, again, doesn't owe us anything, and Baluchistan does not. So it would be us versus them. You can see right now they have 5,000 troops. We have 20,000. So this should be a quick and easy war. So we have declared war. And immediately, even before pausing it, we can see that their troops turned red. They're hostile towards us. And we're going to send a couple of our troops to capture the war goal. And the rest of our troops we're sending into battle against it. You can see these crossed swords indicate that there will be a fight there between us and them. And we're going to unpause it. And just watch our troops move into battle. Now let's take a look at the battle. So how do battles work? Well, first of all, they're modified by terrain. So there are hills here, and it's hard to attack into hills. The defender gets a bonus. And that's applied right here. So it gives us information on the quality of our armies. They have a little bit more morale than us. It shows us the size of our armies. We've got 3 times as many infantry. And we've got 5 times as many cavalry. So you can just look at all of our troops. We've got way more than them. We've even got guys sitting in the back row in reserves. Now, how combat works is that every few days, there's a die roll. Just a random die roll. And added to that roll is going to be the terrain modifier. So if we have to cross a river, or we're disembarking from a ship, or we're attacking into hills or mountains or forests, that's all going to affect our roll. And also, combat takes 2 phases, the fire phase and the shock phase. And each general is going to have a fire and a shock score. You can see that Hyder Sinan, our general, he's got a fire value of 1 and a shock value of 1. And during the fire phase, it's going to compare our general's fire, which is 1, to their general's fire, which is 2. They win us by 1, who is 1 higher than 1, so they get +1 to their rolls. And that determines how much damage is being done by each troop. So their troops, right now they've got a 4, we've got a -1. So their troops are doing more damage. But we've got enough troops that it's going to average out into our favor. I'm just going to let a few days click by and you can see casualties. And you can see their morale starting to break. As their army is getting beat up, they're losing men. Now we're in the shock phase. So again, roll the die, add the terrain, and it compares to shock. We've got a shock of 1, they've got a shock of 0. So in the shock phase, this is where cavalry really shines. We're getting a bonus. So we rolled 5 + 1 - 1. So we had a 5, they had a 5. But again, our troop advantage is going to lead to bad things for them. Okay, and now the battle is over. We lost 1,000 men, essentially. They lost 5,000. We, for that battle, got some war scores. So here's our war menu. So it tells us what the war is about. We're going in to conquer Margala. Started this year. And on our side is us and our subject Bangladesh. On their side is Kashmir. We have 21,000 troops, they have 0. We have 1,000 casualties, they have 5,000. On a scale of -100, meaning we have totally lost the war, to +100, we're at 14 already. And why? Because we won that first battle. That gave us 14 war score. And then it shows us the overview of major battles. It only lists the major ones. It was like 1,000 guys fighting 1,000 guys. It's not going to show up here. Just the major battles. Okay, so now that we've destroyed their army, our troops are trying to capture their territory. So this province, we can click on it to show the province. We can see right here that there's no fort. There's no defenses to keep enemies like us out. So that means over the course of the next 30-day period, this province has a 100% chance of surrendering to us. You can see that right here. Kashmir, however, we can see has a level 1 fort. 1,000 men are behind the walls of one of their cities or castles, trying to defend this from invaders like us. So we actually have to force the surrender of that. So we lay siege to their capital, and it's going to take us some time to do it. We need to have 3,000 troops at least dedicated to the task. And while we're doing it, you can see this little skull here. We are suffering some casualties every month. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key and press this Consolidate Regiments. Okay, so what that does is some of our men died in the battle. And we move the survivors from beaten up divisions so that we have full 1,000 men divisions wherever we can. We need 3,000 men to lay siege to this province. So we are going to send most of our men home. Why? Because again, suffering attrition. So that little skull, men are dying each month because this is unfriendly territory. We're pulling most of our troops back into our friendly territory where we can protect them from starvation and disease. And leaving just over. Oh, that's not good. We'll go over that in a second. Just over what we need to siege down this province. We've captured Margala. And now our men, while they're sitting there, each month they can loot the province of its valuables, which would hurt the economic value of this province temporarily. But you know, that would be stuff that would be added into our treasury. We'd get our share of it. Let's just pull these guys back into our territory. We have control of that territory, and we are laying siege to the remaining province. Hey, how sieges work? Okay, we're 40 minutes into this, so you're going to learn about that in the next video. Thank you for watching. This has been a Let's Play and beginner tutorial / walkthrough of Europa Universalis 4 with RedBstrd.